Yes, indeed. Happy Loki sauce to those who celebrate. I
Oh my
am
gosh, it's
Christian
green
Blatt.
screened out.
It was a little greened out, but Eric's is on display.
Oh yeah, in all
Welcome,
its glory.
welcome to a very special Marvel movie talk as part of the Geekscape holiday live stream. Please consider donating to those who do things like that. In fact, look right there on the screen. I did tweet out the link. I feel like that's the easiest way for people to find it. Follow me on Twitter or hello X World at Christian DMZ. We have a lot of ground to cover in not as much time as we have sometimes, but we're so happy to be a part of this show. As always, I'm Christian Blatt. Right over there is Count Eric Connor. You can count him on this hand. Hello, sir. Oh, and of
Oh,
course, El Sassy Pants herself, Katie Hampton, who went right from one show directly into this one. We appreciate you pulling a double shift, as we say here at Geekscape.
Hey, listen, 'tis the season for back-to-back work.
It is absolutely, and I'm gonna have to duck out 20 minutes early for an extended smoke break, so you guys will finish the show. But
no problem.
first,
What kind of smoke that, Christian?
well, it's California, so really, we're all in California, so it's fine. In any case, we want to spend this show, which is our last for 2023. We'll talk about some fun that's coming up in 2024 towards the end of the show, but we want to look back on the year in Marvel. Now, we want to make sure, and Daniel Drew just spent $460 on new comics today. I think I'm tapped out for today. That's all right, Daniel.
I mean, you
Anytime
could
that
do.
you can give gifts to yourself, I think Daniel deserves it. In fact, Daniel, you should set up an Amazon wish list. I'll give you some stuff to
You,
read.
you know what,
We
Daniel? For
appreciate.
your trouble, I'm going to send you a Loki sauce because they do have sweet and sour, but Loki's got that fine Tom Hiddleston taste that lasts with you all day.
Ugh,
What if
I
we
don't know about
sent? What if we sent like 1,000 of these to Taylor Swift's house? Don't answer that. In any case, I want to talk about the year in Marvel, and I'm just going to remind everyone very quickly. Year in Marvel basically includes Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Secret Invasion, I Am Groot Season 2, Loki Season 2, and The Marvels. So let's hit the ground running. We'll talk about February of this year when we got Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We did several episodes of Marvel Movie Talk, which I forget if we were on Geekscape at that point, but we've been doing the show for a
I feel
while.
like it was
But
like right before.
I think it was
It was the
right before,
before
it was right
times,
after we did
very
that.
dark
Yeah.
days,
So the dark days of the Blackcast YouTube channel.
the darkest.
But look, let's just in a nutshell, and as being most festive. Oh, and Eric's eating, so obviously Katie should go first.
I'm
Just in a
so hungry right
nutshell,
now.
thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania?
This was a really fun sort of addition to everything that we've been seeing. I was expecting to be really bummed out because everything leading up to this movie was kind of a bummer. Everything was very heavy, everything was very sorrowful. This movie brought a lot of joy. I thought it was a great way of reintroducing Kang into the actual MCU.
Yeah.
Um, I love Paul Rudd. Look at us.
Who doesn't?
It's true. Only psychopaths. And he crushes it. And I thought it was fun kind of having the family element of all the different costumes. Um I know it was not everyone's favorite, but what Marvel movie these days is. And hey, at least you got your male lead. So I think it crushed it. I thought it was a really fun movie. Um I thought the third act was a little bit shorter than I was expecting. But apart from that, I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, and what we've learned since is that that movie could have been a bit more dark than the way it turned out. The
Right.
idea was to have to have Ant-Man and the Wasp, to have Scott and Hope end up in the quantum realm. Which, watching the movie, I was like, "Oh wow, that's what they're doing." And then they're like, "Nah, let's get them out. That'll be more fun. They'll get to have a birthday party and some other stuff at the end." But yeah, look, I did find it to be fun. There were there were areas that I was a little bit critical. Just mostly, I felt like they should have done more with Hank. You know, I mean, he kind of bumbled about for like the middle of the movie. But you know, I mean, you have Michael Douglas in your movie, do something with him. But as we talked about at the time, it was great to see Michelle Pfeiffer literally kicking ass and taking names. I was very happy with this movie. Eric, it might not be a chicken nugget dipped in Loki sauce, but how did you feel about this?
Few things in life are. Yeah, I very much agree with Katie. I think Marvel Movie Talk was a safe space for those who actually enjoyed Ant-Man and Quantumania and
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania. And I think that it's one of those cases where I think the parts were better than the whole, because there's a
Right.
lot of really fun scenes. I mean, let's not forget Bill Murray is now
Oh my gosh.
MCU
Right.
canon.
That's
And
right.
I don't know if anyone told him
And
what movie
Hospital.
he was in, but
No,
I like that movie.
I think he
And-
thought he was in a Goop ad, but yeah.
Yeah, he had no idea, oh, wait, this is a movie? He didn't know what was going on. But I also thought the scene of Yellow Jacket MODOK dying. Sorry, spoiler, he dies.
I mean
have
that
no
movie's
remorse.
been on Disney Plus for like 6 months now,
Yeah.
so it's
So it's
all
really
right.
on
hey,
you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
exactly.
Katie's right.
This is all
If
your
you
fault.
haven't watched it yet, what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Why
are you doing
here?
watching this?
You're not
Look,
here.
even our friend Michael Shirley watched it a while ago. That's how you know that it's been past due. I'm sorry.
By mistake, though, he thought it was something else. But MODOK's death is like the loudest I've laughed in the theater in a long time. And when they're trying to, oh yeah, you're an Avenger, and I'm like, that moment was so goofy. And Ant-Man's always been good about giving us those kind of goofy moments.
Agreed.
Now, on the negative side, I mean, I could see some of the vitriol that was put towards this, that label of the F word fatigue kicking in with Marvel. I can see the complaints. I do think, as wonderful as Jonathan Majors was as Kang in this, and has been repeatedly, it maybe needed a little more specific setup for him. We just know he wants to get out of there, but beyond that, it's a little hard to understand exactly what his powers are. And so I think they could have had a little more clarity with him, but I think this was a romp, and more so than a movie. It had lots of fun
I'll
pieces.
give it a romp.
But romps are okay in this day and age. I'll take a romp. So yes, a thumb up from me too.
And by the way, I love having Daniel Drew as my human embodiment of Wikipedia, because he gives us the facts that other than 5 specials, this is episode 23 of Marvel Movie Talk on Geekscape. So thank you. And he also says, I would watch a special presentation with Bill Murray's character and the Collector hanging out with Howard the Duck.
Oh my God, yeah.
Why stop at a special presentation? I want 8-episode miniseries. And by the way, if you tell me in those 8 episodes there's no plot, they just sit at dinner, I'm like, great. How about 23 episodes? Can we get that?
My
Let's
dinner
just
with
have him doing a
MODOK.
podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, we put MODOK there.
Yes.
So yeah, look, I was happy with it, and look, I think that I always start from a place that I want to like everything, and this is definitely a year that proves that I don't like everything that Marvel does. But I did have fun with this movie. I don't know what other people wanted from an Ant-Man movie. This was fun, and while we're talking about it, we also have to shout out the interview that Eric and I did as part of Marvel Movie Talk. About Look Out for the Little Guy with Rob Kuttner, who, as we were informed prior to that interview, we had to refer to our pal Rob Kuttner as the co-author of Look Out for the Little Guy alongside Scott Lang. And our interview was in continuity. It was in canon, and we had a lot of fun with it. And,
we never broke kayfabe. We were very genuine, and it turns out Scott Lang, you think R. Kelly is in trouble. Scott Lang, that guy's up to some real shenanigans. So I hope he gets the same lawyer as Jonathan Majors.
Why don't you go back to your
Your song.
So I think we could see some of the effects of the Loki sauce. Look out for the little guy. I don't know if it'll fit in a stocking, but it'll be a wrapping paper stuffer. Anyway, that was a fun little addendum that we did a bit later in the year. For me, and I am only speaking for myself, hands down, my favorite thing from Marvel in the MCU in 2023 was Guardians Volume 3. I just thought it was fantastic. I thought it was a great ending. I saw it a few times, and they're eating shawarma at that place from Avengers 1. Thank you, Daniel. My interview will be in Ant-Man 4. Hey, I hope so. That'd be great, actually, if that's how the movie starts. But Guardians Volume 3, it just, I thought was a great punctuation mark. It had the tone that we've always had from those characters. I mean, just think, it was only a year ago right now we had the Guardians Holiday Spectacular, which
That's
was so
right.
much fun. And I think that the way it ends, it's clear that some of these characters can go on, probably will go on, but it's just not, it's not going to be the same. And I don't know, I thought it was great. And I think that of the Marvel content this year, Guardians Volume 3 seems to be the thing that most people are in agreement of, because it sort of disproves this narrative that there's a general Marvel decline. It's like, oh, except for Guardians Volume 3. And then it's, well, except for Loki, so it just shows that there's stuff that people are taking in, they're enjoying. There's so much. I know we did multiple episodes on Guardians, but I was just very happy with it. Saw it a couple of times. Did not take the kids to see that one. But
Best.
One day, my son's seen the first one. But Eric, let me ask you, overall thoughts on Guardians Volume 3.
I'm gonna miss them. That's what I realize as you watch it. It's kind of, there's a very bittersweet quality to it, not unlike Loki sauce. That at some point, like, this is it. And so I do think pieces of it will thrive and survive in whatever happens with the MCU over the next couple of years. But the wonderful chemistry all of them had together, that we don't get twice, or not twice, that we're not going to get beyond this. And that's a shame, because they, as a ensemble, were really terrific. I think that's one of James Gunn's real tricks with this is, beyond creating this like really fun tone and world, is like he cast this movie so smartly. And I mean, think of what he got out of Batista, like that guy. And not saying he's not good in other things. He's good in Blade Runner 2049, but he's really funny, and he's playing a character that many have argued, right, is basically a character on the autism spectrum, but doesn't cheapen it. Finds the humor and pathos without resorting to shtick. And I think maybe they leaned in a little much with the animal cruelty angle. But that being said, the fact we felt so much for all these CG created animals speaks again to the artistry of the filmmaking. So, maybe it's my third favorite of the Guardians, but still so good and so much to it. And I do hope we get somehow the whole lot of them together one more time. I just don't know how that's going to be.
Purple Zebra in the chat says that about Dave Bautista, he's the best wrestler turned actor out there. I mean, I assume you're saying after Hulk Hogan.
After Roddy Piper. Well, no, and also Roddy Piper is gone now, but while we still had him.
Too soon, yeah. And Jesse the Body Ventura, he acted
and
like
before
a governor.
I finally make it, in Hollywood, a former beast infection over here. I told you guys about that, right? About how
I thought you just told us something very personal about yourself. I got worried. Wait, what is beast infection?
I was almost a female wrestler named Beast Infection. I never told you guys that.
We've got about 25 more minutes of the show, and we're going to spend all of it on Beast Infection.
This is the best Hanukkah gift I could have asked for. I want to know the whole story.
Purple Zebra, no, obviously. The only thing that Hulk Hogan does as an actor is pretend that things actually happened, like he could have joined Metallica. Like Hulkster in Heaven is based on a true story. Don't get me started on the Hulkster. I know very little about wrestling, but I know how full of what Hulk Hogan is. But anyway, I'm jotting down Beast Infection. That's for another day.
Make it a mental note later. Oh my gosh, brother. That's amazing. Wait, is it the stretchy arms? No.
This is the old school 80s one. So yes, this might be the most valuable thing in my house, including the house itself. Just saying nothing much about my house.
Well, just don't put him anywhere near your action figure for Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. Now, Katie, I
Yes.
want to ask you what you thought of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I want your thoughts on that film.
Y'all let me go against the grain and switch the hat from nice.
Nice.
Oh, no, not the
Naughty.
naughty hat.
All right.
Beast infection. Say it's not so.
I did not like Guardians 3. It felt very body, like it was like the planet that was just made of just organs. I was like, oh, like I know it, like there's a reason why you didn't take your kids to that. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
The animal horror stuff, I thought they did it really well and delicately and everything off screen. It was just so disturbing the entire time. And like I also missed having Rocket as the Rocket we've grown to know and love throughout the entire story, because he was out pretty much the entire time in his flashbacks. And I agree. This is like such a great ensemble cast. I really loved this cast, and it was a nice farewell. It wasn't my favorite farewell. I will say I liked it better than Guardians 2. But I feel like they really leaned into the body horror, whether it be animal, like I know everything was CG, but it was just like, this is a lot, you guys. Like, this is not something I want to rewatch by any stretch.
And by the way, that's not the first time that it's very distracting to have my chat pop up. But yeah, I was letting Purple Zebra know that I prefer John Cena, mostly because of Peacemaker, not pre-Peacemaker, but don't get me started on Dwayne Johnson. But yeah, no, look, Katie, you're not the only person I heard say that. And I've meant to reach out to a friend of mine who's very active in PETA, and I wanted to get her thoughts on, is it a good thing to have that because of how terrible it is, animal testing and things like that? Does it make the point? Or is it too, because I'm like, I understood what James Gunn was going for. I just wonder what, their point of view is, and maybe in the new year. But what did you like about it, about Guardians 3?
I liked that, like, I mean, obviously, like all the like beautiful shots. I played the game as well beforehand, and I felt like there's a lot of crossover with sort of that story. I thought that was really cool, with like bringing Cosmo the dog in, and having that. I am excited for some characters. I feel like they dropped some like big stuff with Mantis and like never really addressed things. It's just like, all right, bye. I miss very first Guardians of the Galaxy Chris Pratt. I like the second, I was about to say season, the second movie was like, it was cool to be like, oh, you've got a dad, or like we're finding a little bit more about you. I feel like Chris Pratt has sort of been in the background for the last quite a few movies and
Well, he
things like
became
that.
like a straight man. I
Yeah.
think you could say, and he wasn't the first one.
He
He's
was
by
never
no
the
means a straight man. No.
No, he's the hapless rogue,
Yeah.
and I missed sort of that connection with his character, because I was just I understood that he was sort of grieving his loss of like who he thought Gamora was and who this new Gamora is. I understood like the motivations and everything, but we also spent an entire Christmas episode with him sulking about Gamora, and I'm like, understandably, I think one of the things that Marvel is suffering from right now is like you have to do your homework before you see the movies,
Yeah.
and like see all this sort of like in between content. That is fine, but I feel like we didn't have an arc for Star-Lord in any of this, and I would love to see.
Well, Daniel points out that James Gunn has been saying that this has always been Rocket's story. And yeah, look, I think that there is an evolution to Peter Quill. There's a bit of an evolution to Chris Pratt. I love chubby, fun-loving Andy Dwyer, Chris Pratt from not season 1 of Parks and Rec, but yeah, season 3, and it's not
We
his.
don't
You know,
really
just
talk about season 1 of Parks and Rec.
no, season 1 of Parks and Rec didn't happen, actually. Yeah. So
Season 2 and on.
yeah, exactly. Season 2 and on. And I think that I know what everybody's saying, and that's why the tease at the end of that movie. I'm so intrigued. I'm like, are they doing like a series of him living with his grandpa? Like what? Because I honestly figured that movie was going to be the last time we see Bautista because he said that. I figured it was the last time we were going to see Zoe Saldana because of just the amount of time she spends. She's going to spend on Avatar. I don't think she has time for anything else. I believe she's made 6 sequels to Avatar just this year. And Purple Zebra thinks they might be steering away from Chris Pratt with his controversy. I mean, his controversy is very different than a lot of people's controversies.
Pretty
His
mild,
controversy is basically
Very mild.
that he has viewpoints that not everyone agrees with. But by the way, he also has viewpoints that, I don't know, let's just say maybe 40% of the country, somewhere in that range, do agree with. So
Yeah.
it's not
And
the
conflict
same.
with his own viewpoints, but I mean,
Yeah, no,
here's the
but
thing, it was never
ahead.
something that like I feel like Chris Pratt was like, I'm gonna make a statement about this. It
Yeah.
was never like he wasn't
It's who he
donating
is.
to a big it's just,
He's
like
he's
you
not
find out
Ted
these
Nugent,
facts.
I mean, it's it's a lot of like, oh, do you know this about me? And look, I mean, it's I think for a lot of people, it's when politicians speak out and are opinionated, it doesn't bother you if you agree with them. In general, it'd be great if I don't know, maybe none of them had any opinions. It's
I think Disney would love that.
Disney
They
would
be
definitely love
thrilled.
that. Yeah. I mean,
As an
Disney told Gina
actor,
Carano to get off Twitter, and she didn't
that's
listen,
right. Oh
Sorry,
Lord.
what were you going to say, Katie?
I was just gonna say, I feel like as an actor, we need to stop glorifying actors' opinions on major political things.
Yeah.
Like,
All right, so bye, Katie.
yeah, no, like, I mean, I'm fine talking about my
Uh,
opinions about Marvel.
Yeah, let me just interject. Daniel Drew says that Chris Pratt's been busy as both Mario and Garfield,
That was
and
right.
this next comment says him as Garfield is an absolute wart. That's a
Everyone
that's a
across the political spectrum agrees with that
Yeah.
definition of
yeah.
work.
And by the way, Ted Nugent's going to be normal in that movie.
He always seemed more like an Odie to me, but
yeah, don't worry, my Garfield references run deep. Okay,
I believe
Cat
it. I
Scratch
believe
Fever
it.
would be
Craig
the
points
theme
out he's
song,
also a
right?
raptor whisperer. There should be a movie with Chris Pratt as all of his characters, Robot Chicken style. Now that's a fun idea, Daniel.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Let me let you finish your thought, though, Katie. I just wanted to get our friends from the chat involved.
Listen, as actors, we learn lines, okay? Sometimes our opinions are valuable in certain circumstances, like strikes. But sometimes you really shouldn't be looking to entertainers in order to like make your big political decisions. I'm just putting that out there. Like, let's stop glorifying like people with like who are making money sitting around on set and doing a couple of good liners from a really great writer,
No, yeah, exactly. It's not like, hey, I wonder what Grumpy Cat thinks about the Middle East.
Right.
I mean, and if that sounds stupid, it's the same idea. And
I saw a great bit a comedian did last night where they were talking about Gen Z is gonna ruin news feeds and just be like in Hamas today, there was anyway. Basically equating it to TikTok dances, reporting the news.
You can dance your way in and out of everything. So you still have the naughty hat on, which is good, Katie, because we did 5. Was it 5? Or was it? No, it was 6, right? There were 6 miserable episodes of Secret Invasion, weren't there?
I would argue there were 5 measurable.
No,
I'm saying 1 good.
No, I know what you're saying, and I always disagreed with you from week 1.
That's fine.
There was the one time Michael Shirley and I were in complete agreement that show was garbage from week 1. And justice for Maria Hill, by the way. What a terrible way to get rid of that character in a show that no one should ever, ever, ever watch. Naughty Katie, please.
Yeah, very naughty in that I stopped around episode 3 and just couldn't go back to it. I was just like, what is happening? I feel like there's
obviously the strikes for WGA and SAG-AFTRA were terrible things, but I think in the end everybody's seems to be mostly glad they went through them. But for you, it meant that I could not ask you to be on our Secret Invasion show, so you were able to be like, nope, not watching it. Even Michael Shirley watched all the episodes of that show.
Yeah. Katie has a point. Let's not forget the rich celebs telling us poors to quit whining about staying locked down and losing our jobs. Yeah.
I'm gonna borrow a line that I use on one of my other shows. I don't even know what that means. Finish your thought, Katie.
Yeah. No, I apart from the fact that it was just a shit show. I'm gonna say it.
Working title.
Yeah, I think it was around the third episode that I found out that AI had created the opening credits, and I was like, you literally started this entire company on the backs of comic book artists and writers, and to do an opening credit sequence via AI was just like, wow, Disney, you're really showing your hand right now. Like, I can't believe this. And it felt like it was written by AI as well. And
that's the thing. If Secret Invasion used real writers, it would have given leverage to the studios to say, I don't think we need writers because look what writers do. They come up with Secret Invasion.
Katie, I'll disagree because AI stands for artificial intelligence. There was no intelligence behind the writing of this one. I'm sorry, Christian, go ahead.
I can't think of a time that I've been more disappointed in a project than Secret Invasion. It seemed like it could be really cool. It was like, all right, cool, we're gonna get Nick Fury, on our TVs, and
I was so stoked. Like the trailer looked good. I was so ready to lead this up to Secret Wars. Like I was very invested in where this could potentially go. And then they kill Maria Hill, and I was just like, all right, sure.
But and Katie, you spared yourself. I mean, it does not end in a big blowout kind of a way. I mean, there's a fight, but it's not really. It's like it's sort of it comes off more like the old timey duel where like two gentlemen slap each other with a glove, take 10 paces, and turn around, and you're like, all right. Let's go have dinner. I
can't you with my slapping glove now.
Right, exactly. Eric, before we move on, overall enduring thoughts. Look, you liked the first episode, and here's what I'll say about the first episode. No one could have predicted just how bad it was going to get at that point.
I agree. I think it was me and Nate who were sort of the defenders of that first episode. And then the defense rested because
because the next week Nate was like, our buddy was like,
I think the jury revolted.
It was loosely on the tracks for me, and then it just collapsed. I mean, it was so disappointing. And then we did the book club of Secret Invasion, and I'd read a chunk of Secret Invasion when it was in comic book form. And I think it kind of goes back to something, we touched upon a long time back, which is when it became announced as a TV series. Because that was almost in some ways maybe the first death knell, because that was saying we're not going to put anywhere near the money into this thing that it really needs, because that on paper, literally in the comic, was great. It's a really cool idea. And it really should have been maybe the next big Avengers project. Instead, what we got was not even Secret Invasion. We kept joking. It wasn't really invasion. It was like a secret disturbance, a secret nudge.
A secret. We'll retcon this later.
Right. It was, and what they did.
What the biggest secret was that there were so few people involved. There were no crowds. It wasn't really an invasion.
Right. A secret mild infection at best. And it was a real shame because you not only have Samuel L. Jackson, but you have Ben Mendelsohn, who's a fabulous actor. You have Olivia Colman, who every scene she's in just kills it. She's
is amazing.
And even in this terrible show, by the way, all of her scenes were great.
Every single one of them. When she tortures the guy, cuts off his finger, and it turns green, she's like, "Oh, good."
Yeah, like, oh, you didn't know fully, did you? Yeah,
that could have been the show. That could have been.
Is that you have these phenomenal actors and you're
Phenomenal,
not
right.
utilizing them with good plot, good story, good dialogue, good effects, good
Right.
practical shot and camera type moments. And then you just kind of it was just such a it was a
And
shit show.
and I think when she was on screen, I think the ultimate problem that she brought, because she again, great in every second of it. It showed you the show. Maybe it could have been, even on a small scale,
Yeah.
it could have had a Killing Eve kind of vibe.
Yes.
That I would have been up
Right.
for.
Yes. And that's what I was expecting. I was expecting a little bit of espionage
Yeah,
mixed in with
totally.
some like dramatic like relationship stuff. Like, oh, who can we trust? Who do we not trust?
Right,
Like,
right, right.
do we have some Cylons amongst us? Like we didn't
Yeah.
know. And
Now
then
you're
it was
talking
just
my
like,
language, by the
Yeah.
way. Yes.
And it could have been timely then too. It could have been about something. But
yes.
Yeah.
this was just scraps from the Disney plate, from the Marvel
Well,
plate. And
as our buddy Daniel Drew says in the chat, secret sniffles is really what it was. It was like, it wasn't even like, you don't even have to miss work for this invasion. You're like, it'll be all right. It's fine.
see,
Yeah.
that's my stage name from now on, Daniel. I'll,
Secret.
I'll pay you for the rights.
Let's we're a little limited on time on this show, so let's spend just a quick moment on I Am Groot season 2. I think the Groot shorts are very cute. It was fun. It was very easy for me to watch with my now 6-year-old daughter. She likes Groot. She especially likes the one where he wears the red nose and he can smell everything, and she still talks about the fact that he
Yeah.
could smell the toilet. So and it was fun. It was great. I think I like that they have content like that is fine for kids, but actually still actually part of the MCU. Yeah, there's all the animation offshoot stuff that's not technically MCU stuff. Like Spidey and His Amazing Friends, which my wife watches, but my wife watches with my daughter. My
Your
wife
daughter.
watches it too, but my daughter watches with my wife. Yeah.
For research. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's important. But my daughter took a liking to one of the characters on Spidey and His Amazing Friends, which will translate into something in a little bit. But there's not really much to say about it. They're cute. They're not for everybody. Some people didn't watch them. Some people watched one. But I watched both of the seasons with my daughter, and what are they, like 5 minutes each? I like you get some appearances vocally from Bradley Cooper. And you got some fun stuff in there, so no real complaints for I Am Groot season 2.
It's microdosing Marvel for kids.
Yeah.
Now,
without those messy side effects.
Katie, you actually missed all of Loki season 2, being able to talk to us about it. So
Yes.
I actually don't know what you thought about it. So let's start there as our penultimate entry on our Marvel in 2023 list.
I had a lot of love it. I'm really hungry. I feel like I'm gonna like order McDonald's as soon as we're done with this, but yes. I had a lot of ups and downs with this show, so I'm just gonna go like in between naughty and nice. Little Johnson. Oh, actually, it just looks like I'm saying naughty even more, but whatever, it's fine. I like there were like some of the new characters wasn't a huge fan of. I know they were part of it, but like I also thought they upped the stakes in a way that I wasn't clear that they were going to be able to do. I thought sort of again with the like not showing a lot of violence but showing it off screen, like but the box that got smaller and smaller was just so dark and cool, and I was like, it's a simple thing that freaks me out, and like I don't need anything more than just hearing a squish. And I was like, ugh, gross. I thought it was fascinating how they dealt with time and string theory in a way. I thought it was a really cool, very beautiful, picturesque sort of moment at the very end with Loki holding all the streams of time and them turning green. I think it's finally he's on his throne. I thought that was such a great wrap up to that character, at least for that moment. It was cool. I truthfully did not know where it was going every single second. I couldn't predict things, and I loved seeing all these characters in different elements. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a lot of fun. And, Eric and I will largely keep it brief. If you want to know what we thought about Loki season 2, just look right here on the Geekscape YouTube channel and you will find 6 complete episodes where we talked about each one on a weekly basis. But, we've had a few weeks for it to settle in now. Eric, your thoughts as you look back on Loki, not just the sauce, but also the second season.
Yeah, it's my totem for this
Yes.
episode. Yeah. Um, it's funny as we talk about Secret Invasion. I think it's sort of like the weaknesses of Secret Invasion speak to the strengths of Loki. Loki looks like a real Marvel property.
Mhm.
Loki's beautifully designed. Love the music of Loki, by the way. That's something, again, there's so much good stuff in the Marvel universe. It's very easy to take for granted some elements, There's Oscar winners, Oscar nominees everywhere. Loki had such great technical, parts to it. The design of it, great acting across the board. I like the new characters. I agree with
I
you.
will say,
Yeah,
I will say, Kie Kwan was great.
yeah.
I didn't like what was the name of the dude who was like their
The guy who
nemesis?
was the actor.
Yeah,
Yeah. I actually forgot that character's name,
I,
but
and
I know.
that
I'm
might
sure
have been,
Daniel Drew
yeah,
knows, so he'll tell
that's
us.
really what. Yeah,
yeah.
and thank you ahead of time, Daniel Drew, for all of your Wikipedia knowledge.
He's our dramaturgy, actually. I don't know if you
I
realize
guess
that
so,
the
yeah.
Marvel movie talk dramaturgy. It's such a. I mean, this is a show that I think it's Marvel at its finest, really, on the
Mhm.
TV landscape. And Tom Hiddleston, I think, even when he's focusing on his hair, which I know triggered some of our Marvel movie talk team. If I had his hair, I'd be focused on it too. He's really fabulous. Owen Wilson showing a
Mm.
charm that he hasn't. I haven't seen as much charm like this from Owen Wilson in quite some time. So
He was
it's been
so
kind of,
charming, you'd think he was Luke Wilson. That's
yeah,
how
right.
charming he was.
It's like
Not
a
wrong,
welcome
not wrong.
return to form for him. And so,
Yeah,
yeah, no, I
agreed.
think it really is what they can do with this form. And I hope I don't think we're getting Loki season 3. I just hope this creative team keeps getting very involved in the Marvel
Yeah.
universe.
Well, obviously, the final, most recent entry here for 2023 is the Marvels, and literally the three of us did an entire show where we talked about it. For the most part, it was fun. We enjoyed it, and I think a lot of people in our chat on the various episodes we did felt the same way. I want to have Matt, who's helping us out, share a photo because it does tie in directly to the
Uh,
Marvels. There's my daughter Lucy on her 6th birthday with Mon Villani, with Ms. Marvel herself,
oh,
who
good.
my daughter is a big fan of Ms. Marvel because of her inclusion as one of Spidey and his amazing friends on Disney Junior. And you're seeing she's holding a Happy Meal Flurkin. We're doing a lot of product placement for McDonald's, so I'm expecting to get a gift card with the golden arches on there. So
McDonald's,
that
donate to the Big Brothers and Big Sisters.
exactly. And I brought my kids to see the Marvels at in the theaters, and it was the first MCU movie that they'd seen. So that was exciting. That was fun, and it was a fun year, 2023. Doing Marvel movie talk here on Geekscape, having fun with all of our various co-hosts. We have one more Marvel related show we'll be doing next Friday here on Geekscape at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. We'll be talking Vision, which isn't really showing up, but so find us there, the Tom King Vision, and we'll be back in January talking both What If and Echo. Very quickly, we've got 30 seconds. Eric Connor, where can people find you?
Chag Sameach, happy Hanukkah, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Count Eric Connor, come say hi.
And Katie.
Happy Hanukkah, everybody. You can always find me at El Sassy Pants, or you can also follow the Napping Through Happy Hour podcast, or check out the Napping Through Happy Hour and Unstable Topics crossover that we just did right before this show. Good times. And you can always follow me on all these social medias as at El Sassy Pants, ELSASSYPANTS.
I'm at Christian DMZ, and as we say in the Star Wars world, happy Life Day, everybody.
Happy Life Day.